Hey everybody, welcome back to the K2N Online Paddle School. We are back here on YouTube, and this week we're trying to take a paddle stroke like we are pulling on a bow. Analogies are an excellent way for our mind to take two concepts and bridge them together. Once you can understand a concept, you are in position to try and apply this concept, and applying more concepts allows you to get faster over time. You have a direct pathway to improving your skill level. If you do not understand a concept, then you cannot apply a concept, and now you have no meaningful pathway to getting better. So I don't practice archery at all, but it is a very iconic looking motion, right? It is a very dynamic and very concise motion. Most people would know that if I was doing this and I let go of my hand, that I'm shooting an invisible arrow into the air. Using this very specific range of motion as a visual tool for transferring power into a tool, this gives us a platform to try and bridge concepts together. In paddling, you can directly see somebody's ability to move a paddlecraft forward is related to their ability to turn their shoulders effectively. How much they can turn their shoulders and how consistently they can turn their shoulders dictates their end speed. The faster the paddler, the more that they do this, the more consistently they do it. And looking at the bow and arrow analogy, when we are turning our body, there is a specific influence that our joints have in order to influence our shoulder and our hip motion as well. If the arm is out of position, the body can't move as freely as it could if the arm isn't working with it. The other part of this analogy that we want to look at is there is a pushing and pulling relationship as we interact with a bow. We have one hand on the bow that has to push, and as we pull on the string, we are going in the opposite direction. We have to push and pull in order to get this weight onto the arrow. If both my hands pull towards me, there is no tension here on the string. I let go, the arrow falls down on the ground. If I push with both hands, the same effect occurs. There are many paddlers that are trying to pull with both hands and push with both hands too excessively. This is where rotation comes into the equation. Our ability to turn our body creates this pushing and pulling effect, right? I have one hand on the bow, the other one is on the string, and as I turn my body, my hand goes towards the camera, my other hand comes back towards me, and this gives us this pushing and pulling mechanic here. This is why rotation is so valuable into the motion. As we set up into a stroke, if I rotate my body, my hand on the top is going to push, my bottom hand is going to ultimately pull towards me. It's easiest to think of the bottom hand continuing to push down onto the water, but physically it is going to pull towards us as I rotate my hips, my knees, my shoulders, and turn. My hand gets closer to the camera, and now my hand is closer to me simply by turning my body. So we have this pushing and pulling relationship. Most paddle strokes are going to start with the handle closer to your head and the blade further away from you. And when a stroke is done, the handle is further away, the blade is closer to you. And the only way that this is going to occur is by pushing and pulling. By doing this motion here, it is not as effective as it could be pushing and pulling the paddle through the motion. And this is the same within the kayak. The top hand is going to push away from the body, and my bottom hand is going to travel towards the body as I push and pull with my rotation. So the tools are very similar. We have to interact with the stick in a pushing and pulling way to create leverages and torque that we can use later. How we set up into a stroke dictates our leverages as we go through the stroke. If I do not turn my body properly, when I start pushing through the rest of the stroke, I won't have the leverages that I could. So if I don't turn my body sideways, I only have a few leverages left here that I can use. But if I turn my body, this leverage of the shoulder is now something that I can push into the water. And with the canoe strokes, if two hands are pushing too far out, I don't have enough tools in my arsenal to take a successful stroke compared to somebody that has their shoulder back and their arm in a very particular position to push and pull through the rest of the stroke. And the primary idea that we're trying to get out of this analogy is how your top arm and its position influences your body's ability to rotate. In order to pull the string as close to me as I can, I have to bend at my elbow in order to allow space for my shoulder to move and my body to turn sideways here. If I keep my top arm extended out and I turn my shoulders, there is not a lot of range of motion. There's not a lot of tension or torque. There's not a lot of power that is going to be on this string. If I was going to shoot this arrow as far as I could and I let go here, there'd be nothing that would happen because there's so much power potential that is left with increasing the range of motion. The first thing to increase the range of motion is bending at the elbow to pull on the string. But the elbow bending now allows space for the shoulder and the chest to turn here. It is a very important distinction. This elbow has to bend to create space for the shoulder to move. If the elbow is extended, I'm very limited with how much I can move my shoulder, but if I move my elbow out to here, I can turn my whole body through this motion. And the paddle stroke is very similar. When we see paddlers with their top arm overly extended, there are not enough leverages that they have to take a stroke that can be as meaningful as they probably want it to be. So just like looking at a string going back on a bow, the further back this is, the more range of motion and power that we can use in the actual motion. So when I bend at the elbow, it allows me the ability to turn my shoulders more, just like I'm pulling on this drawstring. But more importantly, when the blade tip touches the water and I begin my stroke, I have much more range of motion at my disposal versus somebody that has limited range of motions setting up the stroke. And we use this analogy with throwing a punch or throwing a ball. If I gotta throw a ball 100 yards out of my hand and I start the motion with my shoulders sideways and my arm extended, there's not a whole lot that I can do to try and get this ball to move. Using my whole body, bending at the elbow, allowing me to turn sideways, getting very particular positions, I now have a chance at transferring all this energy as I throw the ball from back here. How we interact with the top handle is incredibly similar, right? This range of motion needs to increase itself so we can use it in a very meaningful way throughout the rest of the stroke. If we start with very limited range of motion, we have less joints at our disposal and less ability to push into the water, no different than only pulling this far back on your bow. If I can open up to here, there is so much more power that I have at my disposal, and this is a motion that we are looking for. And so when we look at this, this is something that we can't do literally, right? When we're using a bow, you can literally turn sideways into it. And when we're paddling, we can't literally go sideways, but we are trying to be closer to that than having the shoulder square. I would rather be closer to this literal sideways position than I would being here, right? So if you only make it this far, this is plenty to go through the motion. And with the hand position, we are wielding the tool to grab the water in a very distinctive place. It's not directly in front of us, it's not out to the side, it is slightly off center. So moving your hands to make sure that you can connect these leverages to the water where it is specifically is very important. But the fundamental idea is there. The more that we can turn at the shoulder, the more you're pulling on your body string. And when you begin releasing that power into the water, you have so much more potential from back here than you would from here each time. And your top hand's arm position influences that. If I start here, there is only a little bit of shoulder motion I can get into the stroke, versus if I bend at the elbow, I can get this top shoulder really far in the back, and then I can push all this power into the water. The string in this analogy is your body. The more that you can turn and put tension on it, the more you can release, and the further you can fire that arrow, which is a more competent paddle stroke. Thank you guys so much for checking out the video. If you have any questions or any ideas that you'd like to see discussed here on the Online School YouTube channel, feel free to leave a comment below. I want to give a big thank you to all of our YouTube members. It is only $2.99 a month right here on YouTube to sign up and see these videos about a month early. Don't forget to check out the K2NOnlinePaddleSchool.com today. We have over 300 videos designed to help you integrate in all of these different ideas and make your paddling skill even higher. Work directly with a coach. I can write you workouts. I can do video reviews for you. Whatever you need to make sure that you are progressing, I am here to help. If you're interested in doing clinics and you would like me to come to your area and teach your group, feel free to reach out via email anytime. I have done a number of clinics this year in 2025, and I plan on doing them all the time. If you can make the group, I will come to your area. If you'd like to come here to Hernando, Florida and paddle, feel free to send a message. I can provide you boats, paddles, and I will paddle with you as much as you want. Thank you all again for supporting the YouTube channel and supporting the K2N Online Paddle School, and we will see you all next week for the next paddle tip video.